What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Judy and Shirley. We are back with another episode of the Bear Fruit Podcast where we unveil all truth. Y'all already know who Chef Rebecca is, all right? But we got somebody else, a good friend of ours, on the couch with us. Louis in the building!
Yes. It's a pleasure.
How's it going, Louis?
It's going good. You know, just got back from vacation and right back to work. So,
Yes.
been just grinding. Back from vacation, got to make back the money that I lost. Gambling, spending, all that good stuff. So,
but you had fun, though.
Always.
All right, well, tell the people a little bit about yourself, Louis.
Well, name is Louis. Real name is Luis Cotto. Everybody calls me Louis for short. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a home improvement business. Grew up here in Colorado. Went to East High School, so home of the Angels, if you don't know. Went to college at the University of Northern Colorado up in Greeley. I lived out there in Greeley for about 6-7 years. I'm a business enthusiast. I like to interact with different business owners outside of, my general industry of home improvements. And I have a lot of things in the works right now. So it's all a journey, you know what I mean? But things are getting done.
I met Louis at a marketing network event. He was real cool. Had a quick conversation, what you do, how you do, this typical stuff. And he is the only person from that event that followed up with me and Chef. Chef and Louis got together on some other business, and I just popped up at one of their meetings. And he was like, dang, you just ignored my email. But that night was a good night because we got real heavy into some business conversation.
Man, yeah, it was like much needed.
Yeah.
It was like just like kind of like that breath of fresh air. Because like a lot of that's what it was too. Like when I went to that event, I was on a mission. Like outside of the home improvement thing, like what we've talked about, and I'm sure we'll dive into it again, is like, I was on a mission to get there. You know what I mean? And introduce myself, let myself be known.
So what was your first impression of me and Chef over here for you to reach out and follow up with us?
Honestly, I really get inspired by like the aura that somebody can bring off of them. You know what I mean? So like when I seen y'all walk into the room, you know what I mean? Y'all just had this aura to y'all. You know what I mean? Aura is just like such a powerful thing. And so there's just an energy that I gravitated, and so, and like there was, some eye contact, like, so like I was like, all right, other than the aura thing, it was just like eye contact, you know what I mean? Like, okay, definitely, like I got to make it, a priority to talk to them, at least introduce myself or like figure out who they are.
Right.
Between like the party that was there, I was just like, yeah, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like with you, like, with you being a life coach and then, you being a chef, like, I was like, yo, those is like two different, two things that I like need in my life, because I wouldn't consider myself a chef, but I've been in the kitchen before, you know what I mean? And that was actually one thing like I wanted to promote too. Like there's just a whole nother idea. It's just like promoting that men cook too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's, down the road, but but yeah, so definitely like just y'all aura, you know what I mean, the energy that y'all projected off, like once y'all enter that threshold.
Yeah, gotcha. And I want to make this perfectly clear because I said it in, I believe, my intro video, but Bear Fruit Podcast would not be happening without this man right here. Okay.
Oh. Y'all got the tissue ready? Oh my goodness.
But Louis is the one that pushed it. Like, a lot of people
that.
came up to me and was like, why are you not doing public speaking? Why are you not doing a podcast? And I was just not with it. But when Louis said it to me, for some reason, I was like,
I remember
okay,
that
he was like, no, because he can't correct. He was just like, no, this is what you need to be doing. And I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. He was just like, whatever you need, we gonna get it together and we gonna work it out.
Mm.
And I was like, say less. Let's say less. Like no brakes, all gas. You know, let's do that. So why did you say that?
I mean, it just needed to be said, obviously. Well, I think it was. I mean, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So, when Chef and I had, our meeting, and then you came along,
Yeah.
like she asked, she was like, "Is that?" I was like, "Sure," you know what I mean? Because eventually, I wanted to have that meeting with you,
Right.
So I was like, two birds in one stone, let's get it. And then once we just started getting in conversation, you know what I mean, and just started talking about like what all we got going,
Yeah.
and then you told me podcast. I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? That was like,
Yeah.
all right, you already told me enough,
Yeah.
and like me, personally, like I just want to see the greater in everybody. And so one thing that like kind of like, it was not like a negative trigger, but it was just like, you know what I mean? You were doubting yourself too, so like with
All
you.
right, read me, coach me. All right.
But it was just like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, no, like, you know what I mean? You already have it as a thought, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just push it, And so I was just like, nah, like whatever you need, you know what I mean? Whatever you need from me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whatever it is.
He was the confirmation.
Yeah, he was
He
definitely
was
the
because
confirmation.
she had heard.
I heard it like 2
everywhere
or 3
we went,
times
Yeah,
before.
was
see.
at her podcast.
Well, I mean, pat on the back for me, but like that's honestly humbling, like to know that I just gave you that extra push
Yeah,
for sure.
you definitely did. So, y'all thank Louis for this podcast. If you all are enjoying these episodes and everything like that, it's all because of this man right here.
I appreciate it.
Give me your flowers right here.
Hey,
you
I'll
know?
take them. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me readjust myself. I'll take them.
So, how was it for you living up in Denver and growing up in Denver, Greeley area? Because we ain't from here
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, of course, for us,
It's an adjustment.
it's an adjustment.
No, for sure.
And different. But how did you navigate?
So a little bit about. So I grew up in 5 Point area, East Side, and right on 28th and Race. It was the hood. It was the East Side. You know what I mean? This is crazy because I was having this conversation with one of my homies that we kind of came like good friends at 14, and we was just having this conversation, and like he was like, you were probably like the only one that like didn't change up. You know what I mean? For the cloud or for just to get a name. You know what I mean? For yourself or none of that. So like my upcoming for all of this was like definitely different. Grow up in the hood, you get brought into different things, you know what I mean? You get exposed to a lot. And I just didn't want that, you know what I mean? Like I didn't. Like I didn't feel like I needed to be a part of any of that to like be true to myself. Still stick up for myself, you know what I mean? Like I'm a man at the end of the day.
Right.
And so, that's and like went on to, like I said, I went to East High School, you know what I mean? Met one of my greatest friends, and so there was just times where like the life would take over him, and like I didn't have a car or nothing, you know what I mean? So it was either bus or, you know what I mean, Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Lamborghini.
so the Lamborghinis was working, and I just remember like, like me waking up earlier just to make sure I'd walk to his house and be like, yo, we gotta go. We gotta go to school. You know what I mean? You gotta get, at least your high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was sent to, you know what I mean? Like kind of be this, kind of like just like the sore thumb that like just to, like the outside of everybody, you know what I mean? But like, I just definitely took a different path. Like I still know people from both sides, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 sides depending on where you was from, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but nah, like I just stayed true to myself, and then, decided to stay local enough, you know what I mean? Go to college. Greeley was a different adjustment. I knew people out there, you know what I mean? So like once I found out they was out there, it was cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that you had to get past was the smell, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like it's a mental thing because it was like, you know what I mean? That smell was money. A lot of people left Greeley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't that city life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I seen Greeley grow. You know what I mean? And I made Greeley my own. honestly, like I was like, I didn't mind Greeley. Like I'll
Yeah.
move back because I
Yeah.
didn't mind it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
made it my own. In any environment that I was in. You know what I mean? I'll make it my own.
Mm. That's good. You had the mentality young to where you was like, I'm not gonna be a part of this. Like part of what everybody else is doing. I'm gonna make my own path.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you didn't want to be in the house, so you know what I mean. I grew up playing sports. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the only thing that you know what I mean we had to worry about is coming back in the house before those lights come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So if I could find any way to stay outside of the house, I was doing that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Elementary, like after school programs,
Yeah.
was it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then high school, same thing. You know what I mean? Going in the club, like the clubs in
Yeah.
high school, because it was just like you know what I mean. I just didn't want to be in the house.
Would you ever move out of Colorado?
Would I move? Yeah.
So where have you been outside of Colorado?
Like just in general, like where have I traveled to?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so different parts of Texas,
Mhm.
Cali, San Diego, L.A., San Francisco. Been to Florida. Been to Chicago. Been to Wyoming. I've been to New York, where my family's from. I feel like, I'm missing a ton more.
So
I've
you've been well versed in
yeah,
traveling.
yeah. And out of the country. I've been in Mexico.
Mhm.
Just got back from Germany, Italy. Um, I know that Puerto Rico is owned by the United States, but I have my differences about that. But yeah, so I've been to Puerto Rico. So yeah, I've definitely traveled
Traveled.
outside of Colorado.
So, what are some areas that you would consider living in, other besides if you ever to leave Colorado?
Domestic,
Either way.
Domestic or international? Or both.
okay, domestic. When I was out in Texas, it kind of like just reminded me of like, just more of a family kind of vibe, you know what I mean, with large property, large land. Like me, I don't need to be close to the city, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather all right, go to the city for a day, you know what I mean?
That's
Nah, and it's like the city's like the city, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'd rather drive into the city, be there for a few hours, get what I need, and then tell everybody to pull up for a cookout. You know what I mean? Great music, all of that. You know what I mean? And so when I was out there in Texas, I was out there for an unfortunate, situation, but it was like that's how we ended off the trip, you know. And so like just that vibe out there was just beautiful. But you're kind of like where we were was in Fort Worth. You're kind of far away from like water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I will move to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? I got family out there in Puerto Rico, so like I'll definitely move to Puerto Rico too. Out of those two. Puerto Riqueño, yes.
So let's dive into like your manhood and everything like that.
Alright.
Like, well, who were your mentors growing up, or like people that you like looked up to kind of teach you the things on how to navigate as a boy, a man in this world?
Um, well, like I mentioned, like the after school programs. And so like a lot of the mentors there, they dealt with the street life, and so just learning from them, you know what I mean. And like there was, I think his name was Ed, man. Like can't even remember his name. It kind of sucks, but he was like one of the main guys, you know what I mean. He was just like, Louis, like I don't want to see you out here, you know what I mean. Like he just kind of seen something in me at that age. I'm like, you know what I mean. You really don't know, you know what I mean. But old souls, they just kind of get these, feelings like, you know what I mean, we don't want to see you out here. And he was just definitely one of them. And then, you know what I mean, just growing up and knowing people like in that life, you know what I mean, my loved ones in that life, you know what I mean, like, and just going through those series of emotions, having to deal with that, you know what I mean, like, and I just remember like what those feelings were, you know what I mean, and it's like, all right, so if I ain't gotta, if you know what I mean, I ain't gotta do that. So I ain't gotta feel like this, you know what I mean? Then okay, You know what I mean? One
Right,
plus one.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So, and just honestly, just staying true to that. You know what I mean? Because yeah, you can have that feeling, but then you're like, well, I can feel that feeling being in that position, but do different.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how we lose a lot of our community. You know what I mean? Because they do that. You know what I mean? And then they get this satisfaction about it, but you know what I mean? That wasn't the satisfaction that I wanted to take on. You know, and so, um, and you know what I mean? Just like family too. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like Ma Dukes. You know what I mean? Like just seeing her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like working jobs, late, two jobs. You know what I mean? Like, and just those talks with her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I remember how those talks were going. I was just like, I ain't trying to have this talk again, you know? And so, hence the reason why I was just like, all right, mom, I'm like, I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
in after school program, I'm in sports, you know what I mean? Like, and so, you know what I mean? And I just peep, you know what I mean? Like, I see a lot, you know what I mean? I'm a very observant person, you know? And so, like, with just doing that, you know, I was just like, nah, I can stay true to myself, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
dudes want to dab me up. Nah, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? Like, and that's just like what it is. You know what I mean? Like, because you know, and life is full of temptations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you look back on it now, like now that we're older, it's like temptation. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, you gonna take on that temptation, or you know
We
what I
haven't
mean?
really
You're gonna
talked about that.
you're gonna
Temptation?
Yeah.
alter it.
What are
I'm
some
just,
of what
I'm
are
giving y'all topics. Hold on. You know what I mean?
what
Let
are
me
some
put
what
y'all.
are, what are
yeah.
some of your
What are your temptations?
temptations?
Definitely. I mean, I've definitely been in those type of situations. You know, just depending on the group of people that I was with. You know, it's like
Like what?
Elaborate the temptations, though.
just you know what I mean. Like if you in a hood setting, you know what I mean. Just the settings that you're in. You know, just the settings that you're in. You know, like all right, well they automatically think you're associated. You know what I mean, and so my peoples maybe. You know what I mean, but Louis ain't. You know what
Right.
I mean? So
Right.
that was definitely like probably the main ones like that was growing up. You know
Like the
what I
peer
mean?
pressure to
Yeah,
affiliate yourself.
yeah. Fear like, all right, well, you know, like, are you such and such as little homie? In their mind, they already think that, or you know what I mean. You already been affiliated with this. You feel me? So, you know, like that was just like the peer, you know what I mean? Peer pressure. It was just
Right.
like, all right, you gonna dab me up, or you know what I mean? So it's like, and these dudes that's probably, you know what I mean, doing life now, or you know what I mean, 6 feet below or whatever. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But
Right.
I'm taking on that risk
Right.
at young ages. You know what I mean? Like, what's
Right.
up?
Yeah.
What's your name, bro? My name's Louis. You know what I mean? So that's definitely one of them for sure.
So, what are some things that you feel like now as an adult you've had to unlearn from coming up?
And learn. I think probably like the main one was like I would see like a lot of people, um, you know, just lack within themselves, like you know what I mean, not even taking on that next step or like stepping out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean, because of what society has put on that. You know what I mean, um, like for example, like all right, you know what I mean, growing up, you know what I mean, if you wore pink, like you couldn't wear pink. You know what I mean? Like that's probably like a big one. Like, but it's
Yeah.
a color. You know what I mean? I think about it now. I'm just like, it's a color. You know what I mean? Like
It's
it's
a
really a
color.
color.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I wouldn't mind dressing up in a suit. You know what I mean? With you know what I mean, a little pink on. You know what I mean? A little pink pendant. You know what I mean? With a rose or something. You know what I mean?
Accent,
A little
yeah.
accent. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but that don't. You know what I mean? I'm true to myself. I'm a man. You know what I mean? So that was probably one of them. And then just like another thing, like I said, I mean, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like in high school, got the one of like the greatest experience like my senior year. Um, and so when I used to sing a lot, it's crazy how it all happened. So because I was a president of BSA, Black Student Alliance, at my high school, and so the like the teacher, you know what I mean, that hosted or whatever in her classroom, like, well, she had us singing at the ceremony. And so I sung a solo, and like I just got like this clout from like
Louis, do not be
Oh.
sitting up here
I
telling
said
me you
in
can
high
sing.
school. I said in high school.
That don't mean
I-
you ain't got no pipes.
Them pipes
Let
is
me find
rusty.
out.
Them pipes is rusty. Let me tell you. But yeah, and so like I just got some clout from that, from like the choir, the honors choir teacher, and so he thought like I was in choir, just not in honors, and I just didn't perform or something like that, and but he was like, he basically told me my senior year that I was gonna have to go to like beginners and work my way up. Well, the forensics teacher, Matt Murphy, that's probably one man that I would always look up to. He like trusted me. You know what I mean? He confided in me. He was like, "No, Louis, like you got it." You know what I mean? So shout out to Matt Murphy. And so he was just like, "Man, I want you to be in forensics. You can do a solo or you can, do a duo." And so just a little bit like, so I did the acting part of it. And so I ended up doing a duo with one of my great friends, my brother. You know what I mean now. And so our duo was Soulman, with Bernie Mac and Samuel L.
Okay,
Jackson.
I will be like,
Okay.
Okay.
And so, one of the scenes, that we had to perform, he played Bernie Mac, I played Samuel L. Jackson. Well, and I'm getting to the point, but like stepping out of your comfort zone. And so, long story short, I had to transfer into like a woman, that was washing cars. And because that was Bernie Mac's profession.
Yeah.
So like we're telling this story, and so that was like a big thing for me. You know what I mean? To kind of like step out of my comfort zone. Like, yo, you gonna have to, you know what I mean? Like, ring around the roses. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like that was probably just like one of the main things, just like stepping out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like, cause you know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You know what I mean? You can do it, all the talks, and like there was talks about me, you know what I mean, stepping out of my comfort zone, doing that role that I never even heard of until like years later. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like people really thought that, but if they really knew me, they know.
So you were really comfortable with your identity at a very young age.
Yes.
That's actually really dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Because a lot of people don't know
No.
who they are and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's all about environment. You know what I mean? Like what you're being taught, what you know what I mean, what you see on an everyday. You know what I mean, and like how you're gonna interpret that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's just I was sure. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to take on this role, like, cause I'm trying to travel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to go here. I can go here by just acting. You know what I mean? And looking clean, you know what I mean? Wearing a suit, tie, match, you know what I mean? Like, I can do that. And all I got to do is just, you know what I mean? Act out this. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You know what I mean? And so, like, and I, you know what I mean? I pushed and I did my best at that. You know what I mean? Ended up getting a scholarship off of that. You know what I mean? So, if I was never to step out of my comfort zone doing this act,
Yeah, then you would have never
people,
got
you know what I mean? I would have never traveled. I would have never, you know what I mean? So, just look at the opportunities that I could have missed out on if I didn't take on that role.
That's a lesson right
Good for
there.
you.
Yes.
Look at you.
Go ahead. Look at you dropping gems and everything.
Let me just sprinkle a little song on that.
No, that's dope. That's super dope.
What are some of the challenges that you face now as an adult? Just as a man and, navigating how the world is now.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges is like taking on the entrepreneur role. You know what I mean? Started out in college, like working, you know what I mean, in college and showing up in my work clothes to go to class and then go back to work. And so really just, you know what I mean, like just going to sleep at night and knowing you got to be the one that like wakes up and like pay your bills. You know what I mean? Like, and just, all right, well, okay, well, I got to wait, hold on. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I'm so big on, like, my calendar. You know what I mean? Like, we on the phone, and I'm like,
Yep.
hold
okay,
on,
when?
let me look at my
Let me get a
calendar.
date.
You know
Let me
what
get
I
a
mean?
date. I'm like, just give me a date.
Yeah.
You gotta always have your planner out.
Nah, and you know what I mean? And that's what it is. And, like, I remember we had a conversation. I was like, so I have this on June 19th.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, does anybody else? Because we haven't talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So yeah, I mean that's probably like one of the largest. I mean, you know, like I said, I mean I get it in my head. I go to sleep, look at the ceiling. I'm like, oh man, like I should have done this different. But that's my career. That's what I signed up for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, when I say that, like I want to sign up for, you know what I mean? And if I feel like I reach my peak, you know what I mean? Okay, maybe I should let it go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've had that conversation within myself. I may get hard on myself at my job sites, but I feel like I haven't peaked.
No.
You know what I mean? And so, with that being said, you know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I'm about to keep pushing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like, you know, biggest challenges of just being a man is being a man. You know, being a man of color. You know what I mean? Like, the very first company that I worked for, to start off, like, you know, the painting business when the companies did start. Like I remember doing door to door marketing. You know what I mean? And it was 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. This guy's up. You know what I mean? He has his windows open and everything. Politely, you know what I mean? Knocked on the door. Kid you not. He was like, get off my lawn, and like I'm like, okay, sir, you know what I mean? Like that's fine, you know. This was in Castle Rock, I think, or Centennial or something like that. And he literally sent his dog after me. And so after that day, I probably sat in my car. Yeah, I probably sat in my car for a few hours and was
no
like,
doors.
I'm not doing sales no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and like just through that journey, that's how I met my first business partner in the painting business. Like he was done with sales too. And so yeah, I mean, just dealing with that. You know what I mean? Like every day, like, you know, when I say I got to be true to myself, but like, you know, we still live in a world that you have to kind of get out of that. You know what I mean? Like I can't carry that. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? I know hood language. You know what I mean? I can't carry that with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? In certain settings. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so yeah, like of course, you know what I mean. In life, we got to make adjustments.
Code switching.
Exactly.
Pretty
You know,
much.
stepping out of your norm. You know what I mean? And that was another thing too. Like in high school, took this course. Literally had to do a whole thing about stepping out of your norm. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, just every day. You know what I mean? I don't know what to expect. You know, and like especially like when the things started coming out with like, you know, cop killings and stuff like that. You know, I remember leaving my friend's house in Longmont and driving down 85 to go back home to Greeley. And I was probably going like 10 over. But, you know, my truck, it's a nice truck, tinted windows at night because it has black interior. You can't see it through there.
Yeah.
Okay, I get pulled over and like literally, I think like my heart just like dropped because I was like, it's literally like
Scary.
1-2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm on a highway.
That's
There's
empty
no
because I've
cars
been to
coming.
Longmont.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no cars coming. So, and I just remember that officer, he, you know, told me that. He's like, whoa, like he can just feel it. You know what I mean? He's like, hey, like, I understand like all of this is going on, like, but you can relax. And like, that was like a big breath of fresh air. And I was like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I was like, yeah, I was probably speeding. I mean, at that point, I'm just like, just give me my ticket.
Ticket in.
You
Let
know
me
what I
go.
mean?
Right.
Just give me my ticket. And so, yeah, I mean, those are just challenges. You know what I mean? You never know what to expect. Like, I've been literally with me, my sisters, you know what I mean? And just us three. We're literally just chilling, cruising. They pull up with 10 cops. You know what I mean? And so, I've seen people get pulled over and not have that many cops. You know?
Yeah.
And apparently, my truck was registered as a black vehicle. That's why I got pulled over. So, could have been for other reasons.
Could have been, yeah. But
Anyway.
Yeah.
here or
So, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Those are just challenges, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Does it get easier?
I
does
feel
it
like
get hard, or do you find ways and tools to kind of deal with what's going on?
Yeah. I feel like the longer you put yourself in, you know what I mean, if you wrap your head so much in everything that's going on in this world,
Right.
you know what I mean, all the challenges that you have to face,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to beat yourself down so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, like, you're literally going to make yourself so weak. So when it does happen,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right.
You
And I
know?
think you're above, like, you're above a lot of people who are probably just growing up and everything like that. Because I feel like just hearing you right now, like, you embraced change. You embraced
Oh, yeah.
stepping out the norm and everything like that.
And you were impeccable with your word.
Period.
And I feel like for a man, and just a man, period.
Because you made a promise to you first.
Yes,
like, you
to
was
keep
like,
your
no, this
commitments
is.
to yourself
Yes.
is number one. But if you can do that, then, and you could just be a man of your word.
Mm-hmm.
For men, that is the biggest thing.
Right.
Y'all's word and keeping that word. You know what I mean?
And follow through.
You're the protector, you're the provider, so you're the leader, you're the leadership. So that should be number one to yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will start to translate in other things.
Yeah.
And it shows, you know, I have a calendar. I make sure I keep this. I follow up with this. I keep this. I told myself, yeah, it's hard, but I'm gonna keep going. Don't want to get up in the morning, but I am.
And that's the biggest thing is too, is like, you know what I mean, it can seem, you know what I mean, and I want men to just understand this, is like, you know, it can seem like, you know what I mean, everything is cool on the outside, but at the end of the day, you still got to have those conversations with yourself, you know what I mean, and if you can mentally pull yourself through that, you know what I mean, you be straight, for real.
What do you do to balance or keep that stable, your mental and your emotional?
What do I do? Breathe first.
A deep breath can change
Breath work
Yeah.
is
everything.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when you go, you know, you just go through everyday life, and like people like forget like the importance of your mental, and they think like, you know what I mean, you're supposed to think with your heart. You know what I mean? If you love somebody, and you know, if it's love, it's this, it's emotional, and it's okay to feel. You know, that's all great things, but it's like if there's no balance, you know what I mean, from like your mental stability to your emotional stability, you're gonna be emotional. You know what I mean? And I was that. You know what I mean? I grew up emotional. You know what I mean? Like, didn't know why. You know what I mean? Like, literally would just be, I'll break down. You know what I mean? Just be like, you know, just like off of the things that I was going through, like that I was seeing, or like the conversations, like, you know what I mean? When your parents tell you, like, this is grown folks talk. But I can hear that. You know what I mean? And that was just me, and like my heart just like, whoa. You know what I mean? Just like breaking down because of that. You know what I mean? And then as I get older, you know, it's more like, all right, well, now I got to grasp my mental capacity. Okay, well, why was those things going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, dang. So now I feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel why you was reacting like that. You know what I mean? And then,
But are you discovering those things on your own, or are you seeking help?
nah. Because, you know what I mean? It's a large thing, too, is like the truth hurts. And a lot of people try to bury the truth because of it, you know?
Okay.
And so, you know, just due time, like when I say like I became observant, I see things, and I'm like, okay, that's a peep note. You know what I mean?
So you just take inventory of what's going on around you.
Oh yeah.
But do you think that's a big reason as to why men don't go to get therapy or get a coach or anything like that, because they feel like they just need to figure it out on their own?
Could be. Definitely could be. Because, you know, as men, we're not supposed to be emotional. We're supposed to have this hardcore.
You're taught that
You're
shit.
told.
Yeah, we're taught that.
Yeah.
We're taught that, right? And so that's why, you know, men try to just deal with it on their own. You know what I mean? That's why men, they're like, oh, well, I don't need nobody. Or, you know what I mean? I can do it. You know
So
what I
you
mean?
never felt like it wasn't that you had to do it on your own. But well, I guess in feeling you had to do it on your own, was it because did you not feel like you had a safe space to
release
be,
all that?
to kind of like, you know
And-
what?
That's what it was. Okay,
I do
sorry.
feel like breaking down.
Because you said that people are scared of the truth.
Mhm.
So do you think for men, a big part of the reason why they don't seek truth is because they're scared of it? There's some things that you probably won't evaluate because you're scared of the truth of what you might find on the other side. So do you think that is a contributor to as to why men won't go and seek the help through therapy, through coaching, through a counselor, through a mentor to get the help they need?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what I think. Like you know, like other than the truth, like hurting. It's I feel like part of that is because we want an alternative truth because we don't want that truth to be the full truth about like what you know what I mean, what we're being taught or like you
What
know what
your
I mean,
experience was or
exactly,
anything,
right?
yeah.
So you know, and this is kind of how men think because we'll be like, I can say like I can grab that box of tissue right there, and I'll be like, oh well, I got to get past you. You know what I mean? I got to bump into you first because I think that's the way to get it closer rather than me just moving this mic and going straight to it. You know what I mean? And that's just like a lot about how men think. You know what I mean? And certain situations we go into it 75% ready. You know what I mean? Because we're comfortable in that. Because why? I just feel like within men.
Look,
I'm not a man.
Hold on,
I'm
I'm
not
a
a
man.
man.
I gotta give
I'm
it
not a
something.
man. So, but
no,
I
but
ain't gonna
I'm
give us
thinking
nothing
like,
less than
okay,
60.
75%.
I'm not giving us less than 60.
Understood.
I'm not giving us less than 60.
not less than 60.
Not less than 60.
No, I can deal
But
with
I'm
the
giving it
75.
75 because I'm a man. I don't care.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you
All
that.
right, but so yeah, that's just how men think, right? And so, you know, we go into any situation in life because we're like, all right, well, us as men, you know what I mean? We're gonna deal with any roadblocks that come with that. If it's an extra shove, if it's an extra dish, you know what I mean? If I gotta put this much more weight on my back, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do that because I'm ready. I was at that 75%.
That's crazy. It's just because y'all shouldn't have to carry all that. But at the same time, where do y'all unload that? Like, seriously, because nowadays, women ain't carrying that either. I mean, that is, woo! You said something there because I'm sitting here thinking, like, am I a safe, like, I know I am, okay? But I'm just saying, most women today, I'm thinking from that perspective. For a man who needs to unload that other 25%, are you willing to carry that? And that goes back to what I be saying. Like, women are supposed to be men's helper. Okay, that doesn't mean that she's supposed to teach them, supposed to be their second mama, everything like that. But you supposed to be his helper. And if you're not even willing to help him be able to unload some of that weight that they carry because they think that they just need to carry that all by themselves, I have an issue with that.
But you're also you're also getting the information from a man cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
definitely.
You came up with a lot more intellect and a lot more tools and a lot more awareness than a lot of men. So for you, yes, carrying, some men not even carrying. Some men dragging. Some men dragging, and then they're like, it's heavy, I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, okay. I had the resources, I had that. But they were there. I just had to go grab them. So, you know what I mean? So, and it wasn't like, you know what I mean, something that was like, oh, well, somebody's telling me to do that. You know what I mean? No, it was just like, it was brought to me as like a opportunity. You know what I mean? All right.
But the fact that you can identify it, a lot of people don't identify it.
True.
Because they don't even, like, especially as adolescents, sometimes we don't see the value in ourselves to even have those opportunities. You've seen the value in yourself. You obviously seen how people were moving and the results from the decisions that they were making and the people they were deciding to kick it with, and you were just like, I'm straight.
Yeah.
Like, I could go a different way, but there's a lot of men out there who don't. They feel like that is their only
Option.
And so to touch on that real quick though. So about the unleashing that 25%. And I mean, you know, you obviously feel some type of way because, you know, and I feel like both of y'all are both women that are like, no, please give me that 25%, you know? Can y'all touch on like the other, you know what I mean, like bulk of women that are like, you know what I mean, that they don't want that 25% because it's going to make their men look weaker. And that goes to a man too, because some men are like, I ain't trying to give off this 25% because I don't want to feel less.
No, the only reason why I feel you would ever feel that way with a woman is because that's how she ultimately feels about herself. So if you're a woman feels, we are taught as women that we need you guys to complete us. Okay? We are only here
For the pleasure.
and the you know what I mean, and the maintenance of a man. And that is not completely true. At the end of the day, we're still human. So at the end of this day, we're all different. We all have different paths, different purpose, journeys. We're here to assist each other. Assisting. And I think 25% is a little low. Don't even break.
Well, he said he said the whole 75. That's why I said 25.
Okay,
you know,
but you know what I mean. Like, it's like women like that. It's because, you know what I mean. A lot of us never had figures like that. We never even got to see what it is to be around a man who is purposeful.
Who There's has a lot vision and a plan.
There's a lot of men out here who don't know their purpose. They're still misplaced. They don't know where it's at.
But it's not even them knowing their purpose. They don't have a vision or a plan. If you have no vision, if you have no plan, if you don't have a spiritual being, you know, that you believe in and everything that's guiding you, how am I supposed to have you lead me? And I'm supposed to be trusting you with all my stuff too. Because you ain't the only one carrying stuff. I'm carrying mine too. So I'm just thinking from that other half of that perspective, I'm thinking the woman who's probably looking at me like, what this girl just said, you know, like that. Like, are we just supposed to be carrying all this stuff for the men and all this stuff like that? Women have their own baggage too. There's some women out here dragging their own shit with daddy issues and all the molestation stuff that happened to them when they were younger and everything. But man and woman, that's why we are supposed to coexist with each other. But in the black community, especially, we go against each other. It's like a whole little fight, a whole battle, from colorism to you ain't making enough to, you know, baby mamas, baby daddies, all these other things. And it's like, dang, I have no one who will carry my shit. I ain't got nobody that will carry, you know, you have nobody to carry your shit. And we just out here carrying shit that that we have no space or nowhere to go to drop it off and feel comfortable in doing so.
And that's because, I mean, we know the deep rooted.
Yes.
But that plays a big part. Like, you've been black women are tired. I'm sorry. Black women are tired. Black women have been at the forefront for a very long time. That's not y'all's fault. But it played a huge, huge, huge part in why our women feel the way they feel now and why they even think the way they think with all this. I'm not saying that you can't be independent, and yes, you should be able to, because yes, I would want to be able to at least know how to do something if my man was down and out and he needed me. Like, you can lean on me, of course. Now,
that's definitely easier said than done for me.
It is easier said than done, but that's why I say if everybody minded their business and everybody took time
to work
and
on
actually worked on themselves and not looked for people to fix them,
right,
then you would start to understand, and it would be easier for you to actually walk into situations and be like, you know what? I hear you. Like when you listen to these women and men today, it would be easier for you to actually come into these spaces and actually shed light on, you know what? I'm going to just shut up for a minute. Let me listen. Because with women, silence
And
is
men.
yours. Silence is your power. Like women, if we just listened for 5 seconds, I get it. We got a lot to talk about. Trust me, we got a lot to say. But at the same time, I always wanted to be a safe haven and a safe space for a man.
Right.
Because black men, it's just...
Again, it goes back to what we always be talking about. Whatever you want out of your man, you need to possess that. So if you want this man to create a safe space for you, you have to create a safe space for him. Like, for him to unload and for him to feel comfortable enough that he can do this. Like, he can break down today, but be back on it tomorrow. And
that's why
like
the relationship stuff, it's just a lot of like blanket information. Like, y'all not even talking about stuff. Y'all are coming from hurt places. Y'all are coming from what society, and this ain't even our society.
Right.
What society is pumping into your head. Like, a man gotta make 6 figures. Do you make 6 figures?
Right.
Not saying you don't have to, but like, you don't create the space to even let a man. So why do you?
Because you too busy trying to do his job. So where do you think where's a man supposed to fit when you too busy doing his?
So
his
it's
shit.
just, and then we go into relationships, we go into physicality, and then we have babies, and it just creates another cycle. So I just feel like our generation is the cycle breakers. We're actually talking about these things. We can actually sit here and have a whole bunch of black men and a whole bunch of black women, and we could probably have a conversation. Would it get heated at times? It would. But I feel like we're at a point where we could actually talk about some shit.
Yeah,
Let's talk about it.
We should.
You know what I mean? So,
because oh man, I mean, just times have changed too.
So much.
You know what I mean? Like, shouts out to the women. Like, they are taking up bigger positions. You know what I mean? And so that, you know what I mean, within itself, like, that's changed the game. You know what I mean? That's changed the game of dating. That's changed, you know what I mean, the norm relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With just having these opportunities for these women to be in these higher positions.
Right.
And that just goes down this road of like, well, how does a man feel? You know what I mean? Like, what is that putting in a man's head? You know what I mean? And so that's a whole deeper conversation too. That just changed. You know what I mean? That men, I'm just say, we are having trouble adapting to that. You know what I mean? Like,
not being the sole breadwinner.
You know what I mean? But accepting that. You know what I mean? And so that's hard. You know what I mean? That's hard for some men.
Yeah.
To just be like, I accept that. You know what I mean? Like,
because again,
shorty's
like,
exactly.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Y'all been taught that a man is supposed to be.
Exactly.
When I just feel like they've taught us that relationships are cookie cutter. They taught us that love is cookie cutter. There is a way that love is supposed to be, and that's not how love works.
Yeah.
So every relationship is different. Some, like when they were talking about the Gabriella Union thing, like, y'all don't know this woman, and y'all don't live in her house. If her and her husband, partner, if they feel like splitting bills or splitting whatever works for them,
50-50.
That's they business.
Yep.
That has nothing to do. That doesn't mean he's less of a man, and that don't make her no less of a woman. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry. But I think it's catered to. That's where I feel like men, again, that's where they start to mess up men. Like, your financial status don't make you a man. There are men out here who don't make 6 figures, who show up every single day
Man.
and are great examples in our community. You don't have to be rich, like yeah, like it might be nice, but even that comes with problems. Clearly, money don't fix that. And that's where I feel like our community starts to slip because we are so hyper focused on monetary shit.
Right.
Like that's not why they chose us. That's not why they chose to break us down, is because we can produce monetary stuff. They chose to break us down because we have power. Like
Rebecca
we have
over
power
here
within
about
family,
to get us into
like,
history.
I know. I'm just saying, like, the black family was one of the most dynamic and most powerful things in any community. Think about how many communities and cities and towns we've built across North America. Schools, hospitals, colleges, like Wall Street. Come on now. You telling me because of monetary stuff? No. You think we was really, come on, we wasn't. No. Like, so I feel like, again, in our community right now, I just feel like everybody needs to take time out. This is a self thing right now.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is like, you really need to step back and you need to find who you are. And then that will help you create the community that we know that we can create. That will, women, same thing. I feel like right now women definitely need to step back and do some healing. Cause you guys want these strong, black, powerful men. Like, then step back, do your healing, and create the space for them to do that.
Due diligence as well.
Yeah, you can't just put it all on men. They not Superman. They not here to come.
We try to
save
be.
Save a hoe.
Save a hoe.
I was gonna ask that question too. Do you guys think that a woman and a child is also a part of a man's load, like that 75 or 25%? And like, how does that affect you guys helping that out when you're a part of what he's already carrying?
A man and a child, like
if I'm trying to date someone with a child or something like that, or
if you're that guy's woman and you guys have a child together.
Okay.
How do you guys help out with the load that he's carrying with, or do you guys feel like you guys are a part of the load that he's carrying? Like a woman and a child is a part of the load.
I don't think a woman and a child should. I think when you bring a child into this world, I think it is a 50-50 thing.
Well, starting with what about just the relationship without the child, minus the child? Minus
the child, I mean, again, I'm different. So I think that, again, I would never put something on my man that I don't feel like I would do myself. And because I feel like I'm very empathetic, like, I would never put you in a space where it's just all on you. I'm most likely going to be like, hey, what can I do?
What can we do?
What can we do? Or how can we, I'm solution based. So what can we do to, like, do we need to take this out?
Right.
Babe, do I need to go do this?
Definitely.
Do I need to go do that? Or how can I do this? What can I do for you to make it easier for you? And then vice versa. What can he do for me to kind of make it easier on me? So we should be able to balance each other. Like, I'm not going to know everything.
Right.
So you're going to have strengths and I'm going to have strengths.
Right.
Like, we should be able to come together, and I should be able to feed into your weaknesses and you should be able to feed into mine. You know what I mean? So it's like, but then you add a child into it, it gets a little different. It's a lot. Like, child for a woman, there's a lot of components. It's mental, it's emotional, and it's physical. So I feel like there's some times where, again, it's not going to be 50-50. It's probably going to be 70-30 or something, because she's not at her full capacity. Right. She just created a whole entire human.
Right.
So there are going to be times that, like, I'm going to need you to pick it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do my best, but I need you to be able to hold me down. But
there's some days in relationships that I ain't going to even I might be at a 25.
True.
he may be at a 25. We have a full 50% that we can give to anything that happens today. And I think that just goes back to like communication and everything like that, because like you said, I'm solution based. My daddy said, okay, you said all that, how we gonna fix it? Like, that's how my dad would come to me, and I would be like, okay. So now I'm the same way. Okay, how we gonna fix this? We got a budget. We need to do this. We need to move this over here. What we got to do?
What we got to do?
You know, and that's a conversation. Is just,
and it's same with kids. Simple. When you have kids with somebody, it's
communication.
The same thing. Communication is the top of the list.
Right.
You communicate. Co-parenting can go so smooth. At the end of the day, it has nothing to do with y'all feelings about each other.
Period.
Like,
it's all about
it
that
either
kid.
worked or it didn't. Mm-hmm. And if it didn't, that's fine. At the end of the day, okay, now we're here to pour into him or pour into her. Like, so what can we do? And if you need some time, it's still a partnership.
Right.
If you at 25 this week or whatever, cool. I'm gonna make sure that we this and he got this or she got this. Like, it's still a partnership. It shouldn't be all on men, but I do feel like men can, I'm not saying all, but men should start to be more involved than they are.
As far as co-parenting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I think that our society kind of, we do kind of put it all on the women. I mean, not saying that you can't have a baby and then walk out. I'm pretty sure you could. I don't know how legal it would be, but women don't get to birth a baby and then go take off 2 years and figure themselves out. So women got to have the baby, still heal, still figure stuff out while doing it with a human being. Men, I'm not saying not taken away. There's a lot of active dads who do the same thing. But then sometimes men get to have that. So you get more of that space and that freedom because you're not a primary parent.
Right.
So you're not dealing with the child every day. So you get a little more space to kind of like, you know what? I'm going to take this week off. Mommies sometimes and daddies, for those who are, single daddies, the primary parent don't get to do that. The primary has to figure it out and figure their stuff out while doing this. So I just feel like it should be a balance when it comes to having a child. That's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Like, we should both be equally yoked in this and equally invested. So I don't know. I feel like the load should be, you take some, I take some, break.
I agree.
That was a mouthful. Sorry, y'all.
That was all you.
Facts.
I was, yeah.
That was
I'm
all
a
you,
mommy,
because
so
you're the single parent on the
you
couch.
Speaking facts, and you know what I mean. I'm glad you was able to
let it out.
Yeah.
Therapy. But that was a good question.
Yeah,
it was a good question.
Any other questions you got?
Mister, I don't want to be on the mic.
Right.
But no, real quick, because you was like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're both feeling 25%. Well, like, at the end of the day, that becomes a ratio. You know what I mean? 25 to 25. That means you're still whole at that point. You know what I mean? So, no, like, that's what, and I just want, you know what I mean, want you to understand that. It's like, even though, you know what I mean, it become, like, take the percentage out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can be 1%.
Right.
But y'all, and we, you know what I mean, 1 to 1.
Yeah.
That's still
a whole number.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And so that's in.
Yeah, that was good. Look at
You feel? Hold on.
I like that shit. Get that.
But like, yeah, just like, and I think everybody should understand that. You know what I mean? And, you know, just like creating that equal part in those relationships too.
Definitely.
Because, okay, like, take the, all right, well, men go into a situation 75% ready. We know women go 110%, get done with it, planning an event, doing this, and then they still critique themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Hold on.
You about to make us go into a whole nother hour on that one.
But nah, and you know what I mean? And that's just life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I just like want everybody to understand that is like, You know what I mean? I may be 50%, you can be 50%, but at the end of the day, we still whole.
Dang.
And that's what we got.
I love that. I love that. But to piggyback off of what you just said on that one, you said women can give 110% and still critique themselves.
Y'all can get
after the fact.
All
that
the flowers,
is so true.
All the flowers in the world. This was so great. This party was amazing. This and that. You like, why?
But again,
we do that in
anything.
everything.
No, I'm saying like it happens in anything.
Wow, that is crazy.
But I think that's going back to not feeling enough. You don't feel enough. Like you don't. If you go and do all that stuff and you still like, because it's one thing to do all that stuff and be like you said, you can lay back and be like, well, I could have done that differently. Oh, next time maybe I'll go around the edges. That's one thing. But like, I feel like women critique don't be logical. It be like we be kind of beating ourselves up a little bit, because at the end of the day, you don't feel enough.
Like when like somebody's not giving you enough, or like you know what I mean.
You don't feel like what you're giving is enough.
Well,
like what you're
not
giving
for me.
isn't enough.
I feel like I give a lot, and I know what I give is enough. I don't get it reciprocated. So that what causes me to be like, well, maybe I didn't do this right.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's still in feeling not enough. Because if you felt whole, it wouldn't matter. I know what I gave, whether you receive it or not. That's on you. That's a you problem. That's a you problem. Now us wanting, like we talk, us wanting someone to reciprocate is different. Because now we're in a different place. Now we're saying, look.
That's all I
give
though.
this. I give 110, baby. So you need to give 110 back. Before, it's like I give 110. Maybe my 110 is not enough, and that's why he's not reciprocating my 110.
Go ahead, Luke.
Can I just throw in a little?
Go ahead.
Just like kind of like I just want to be a devil's advocate on this one. And please, I mean, audience, ladies, y'all want to hate me on this, and I understand. Who told y'all that was 100%? What if the man is like?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Like, what if the
because
man
it could be 100% to us,
that's what I'm
but
saying,
your man
but
ain't
like,
saying nothing
but
about it.
But the man is like, because the man's like, dang, like I see her doing it all. You know, I see her doing a lot, right? That's her, but that's her 110% that she's trying to give to me. You know what I mean? But it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not catered to me.
To you.
It's catered to her 110%. It's not catered to mine on like what I would need. You know what I mean? Like my needs and you know what I mean? So like, what do men, you know what I mean? What do men do in that? Like,
but I think with the 100, like again, but I think that's in learning yourself. When you learn yourself and you start to become whole, your discernment in giving your 100% is different. I'm not going to give the same 100% I'm going to give to her to you, because I understand that you guys are two different people. And in my discernment, I can learn, and I'm whole enough to where I can pour into you in a way to where I can actually learn you. And where those I can identify.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I can identify what needs to be filled.
Okay. I mean, and that's a big thing, is because
a huge thing.
We, you know what I mean, in any given situation, you know what I mean? Like, we cannot go into every situation thinking that person's going to be the same. You know what I mean? Like, they may hug different. You know what I mean? Their body feels different when you hold it. You know what I mean? So it's all about, you know what I mean? It's just, like you said, just having to adapt to that.
We've been saying it all this episode. Literally, it starts with you. The weight that you carry. A lot of that load, if I can't carry it, it ultimately is up to you. And what does that mean? That means that you need to seek the help or
you need to put the load down, and you need to start sorting through it.
Period.
Start sorting through the load, and you could.
She put the words right out of my.
I can take this out.
She took the words right out of my mouth.
By the time you know it, you may not even have a load.
Period.
So when you get to the person that you're supposed to get to,
you
are whole. You have an empty bag.
You about to make me smack you. Because she just took the words right up out of my mouth.
But again, that's my whole thing. Like we just, again, like she said, it's just you have to do your work. Can't nobody do your work for you.
Period.
Can't nobody heal for you. Can't nobody
Period.
fill you up. Can't nobody love
Period.
you the way you love you. It's
Facts.
just I feel like when you start to do those things and you start to heal like spaces in yourself, I'm telling you, it's easier for you to identify who deserves your 100% and who can't, who doesn't have the capacity to receive it.
Period. Sis, you better be coaching like me.
Hold
I
on.
be spitting a little bit, you know, top of the tongue. But this is coming from a freshly healed person. I'm healing,
that's for
bro.
real, though.
I'm healing. Anything
You know
I
how much
say,
junk I had to go through?
junk.
How much stuff I had to
Like
unwrap like it was Christmas.
I poured my bag out, and there were heavy loads of things that I didn't even need. Like there was no reason why it should even be in my load. I just threw it in there for no reason.
Why am I holding on to this?
Yeah, let me check this out. This ain't even mine.
Wow,
This
sis.
ain't even mine.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
You talking that talk. Hold on.
See,
'Cause
you see how God show up. You see how God show up. I mean,
Nah,
this is
that's
exactly
some talk.
how the conversations
Be going.
with me and Chef go. Because I don't have to say much.
Yeah.
Because soon enough, she will say something. I'll be like, girl, I was just thinking that, sis.
That's some talk right there.
No, but this is the
Real talk.
When you start, but again, that's why now you know how you get something and you just love it so much and you feel like everybody should have it. Like, oh, I listened to the song. You should listen to it. Ooh, like that's how I feel about the healing. Like
Dropping gems.
like there's just it feels so good sometimes just to be able to just do for you.
Right.
And now because I'm doing for me, I can give anybody the wisdom or the knowledge or whatever to like, hey, you know what?
Here you go.
Here you go. Or I know where you're at. I know exactly how you're feeling.
Because I've been there and
I've
I've
been
healed
there.
from that. There you go.
There you go. Let me sprinkle you.
Hold on, let me get some of that real quick. Shout out. You want some? You want some?
And you see it, and you just
know what I mean?
sprinkle it down, and not everybody got a little sprinkle. And we're just that much closer of just being a healed people.
Sprinkle me, man.
And that goes back to because when do you really get to focus on you?
You got to make that a
Because
priority.
you be taking care of mommy, daddy, sister, brother,
We about to go
son,
on for another hour 'cause
daughter.
that's a big thing right there. It's like people, they forget to take care of themselves. Oh my goodness. And I'm one of those people. You know what I mean?
Self-care Sunday is not.
Nah,
it's a trend, but it's more than that.
Yeah, I find myself in those situations too. You know what I mean? Like being in the family tree. You know what I mean? Being the manager. You know what I mean? Or just being the person that creates disasters. Or you know what I mean? Like, and just being the manager, like being pulled over here, being pulled up. Sometimes, you know what I mean? I get lost in it. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like exposing all of this energy. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, I gotta lay my head down at night, and I'm just like,
dang, you
yo,
got 1,001
I
things
mean?
in your head, yeah.
and so, yeah, that's. Whew,
Do you
take
feel
care of
like
yourselves.
in a lot of ways it's a culture thing? Because I know like I just growing up around the Hispanics, like it's a very family oriented thing. And it is a real like, you know, you meet a lot of kids who are going to school, have jobs because they're taking care of mom, dad, sister, brother. So do you feel like it's just something that's kind of embedded in you culturally?
Culturally, I don't know. I don't know if it's like so much culture, like because like we don't, and I know what you're talking about. Like it's really not that, like we're not very like that traditional when it comes to that.
Okay.
You know, but like I think like where I got it from was just like I want to help. You know what I mean? And like I feel like I just got to this point of like just, you know, helping, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Especially
being
if
here,
you grew
being
up
there.
and your family was struggling. Now you just, when you get of age, you're feeling
Well,
like, okay,
that's a
what
big
can
thing,
I
too.
do
Yeah,
to
nah.
lighten the load? Whether it be mowing the grass, cooking dinner, or something, anything, and it just becomes a habit.
No, and that's real. literally like was in high school working. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want, you know what I mean, my mom, my dad, or nobody to worry about buying me shoes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and so you know what I mean. Started working. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's that brings back memories for real. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I don't know. And then I think I just like I said, just time just got the best of me, and I just now I'm
You looked
everywhere,
up one
you know what I
day
mean?
and yeah.
I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, and you need to take yourself out.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like turn off your phone. You know what I mean? And I honestly like moving, you know, even though it was like an hour and a half away, like that did that for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, like so like that was like a lot of that for me too. So
I like that.
Wow. Yo, this was a good finale.
Yeah,
Good
I mean, I don't know, man.
Yo, this was a good finale
Oh,
for the
no.
first season. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at
You feel me?
The man who started it all
Right.
gets to end
did
off
it-
this
right.
season.
Y'all really about to make me cry, y'all.
Tissue's available.
I love you, Louis.
No, you're a dope individual.
No,
You're a
you
dope
is dope.
soul, so.
Nah, I appreciate y'all for real, though.
For sure. But I appreciate you, Louis, for coming on the
Nah,
show.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you again, Rebecca, for joining us.
Yeah.
And
You was trying to sit
And thank y'all for watching the first season, okay, of Bear Fruit Podcast. Season 2 coming very soon, all right? Love y'all. Mwah.